All right, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachah, Wadash, double honors to the elders and the apostles at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect, Shalom, Barakathum. And we got to say, Thawada to the elders and the apostles that break down the truth accurately. All right, because, there are precepts that you got to, hash out and go over again, but ultimately we have the knowledge in us, and because of the doctrine that we teach, we don't trip and stumble over dark parables and sayings like these Christians do, which is the topic that I want to discuss, relating to the olive tree. All right, now this is a concept in the scriptures that is used parabolically to refer to the children of Israel. Okay, just to give you the backdrop. And this is going to be a little bit of a response to the debate Captain Tazariak did with this guy called God Logic, and Apostle Tahar was doing commentary on it. I'm thinking about it too, like, at this point, it's got to be like willful ignorance on the part of Christians to try to insert themselves into the scriptures. You literally have to add to the text to draw the conclusion that all nations can be saved. When the scriptures said that we were scattered into all nations for, a punishment, and that we are going to possess them. Okay, there are the people of the earth that are not Israelites. They are literally our possession. Okay, and so you have to reconcile that, which is a key word, with with them getting salvation. Okay. It begs the question, what is salvation? What do we need salvation from? We need salvation from heathen, okay? Mainly Esau, chief among them, okay? But all of these heathen have put the Israelites in captivity, and they were never paid back for it, okay? So when you talk about salvation, or the soteriology, which is the study of salvation, you really have to understand the context, okay? You gotta paint the picture for Christians. Before I type it, I typed in the word olive. Before I get that, let me set the backdrop on how Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai feels about the other nations as it relates to the Israelites, because this goes into what Christians call replacement theology. Okay, so let's set the backdrop real quick. Isaiah chapter 40. Okay, starting at verse 15, it says, "Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing." Okay, so the Lord is referring to the other nations, even though, they're not the largest nation. Israel is the largest nation, but collectively, they outnumber us, and the Lord called all of them collectively small, man, in comparison. This is a comparative analysis, okay? So it says, "And Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beast thereof sufficient for a burnt offering. All nations before him are as nothing." All right, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. So you got to ask yourself, when did the Lord change? When did this sentiment change, where all of a sudden I changed my mind, or now everybody can be grafted in and adopted and reconciled? No, none of those words even make sense when you put it on the heathen. It only makes sense with Israel. Okay, Yasharallah. All right, in the NLT it says, verse 17, "The nations of the world are worth nothing to him." All right, in his eyes they count for less than nothing, mere emptiness and froth. All right, so when the Lord is speaking about his people that are scattered because they were rebellious, and he's going to go back and he's going to reconcile them, he's going to redeem them, not deem them, he's going to redeem them, okay? He's not going to concile, he's going to reconcile, all right? Which means you had to be part of something that he chose to begin with. And the reality is, the nations were never chosen, ever. And the Bible is quite crystal clear on that. But people want to insert things, and that's going to get a lot of people, jacked up, so to speak. So I typed in the word olive. There's a few precepts, but Captain Tazaria pretty much did the job. He did a great job. I'll give him that on cutting that guy who was insistent on saving the people that oppressed them, that haven't even paid back what they did to us. You know, that's not righteous judgment. Okay, they gotta pay it back, man. All right. Nigga steal something out the store, and you come in like, all right, just let them go. I'm like, no. How is that righteous? You know? And it says, let me see. To give you more context here, all right? Just to show you that the term olive tree is used to refer to Israelites, okay? Psalms 52. All right, and 7, it says, lo, this is the man that made not the Most High his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengtheneth himself in his wickedness. All right, and it says, but I am like a green olive tree in the house of our power. I trust in the mercy of the Most High forever and ever. Okay, so there you have King David. I believe King David wrote this. It said, looks like Doeg wrote this one. But these are Israelites, okay, referring to themselves as the olive tree. Okay, so the olive tree is a metaphor for what? The Israelites, man, all throughout the scriptures. Okay, all throughout the scriptures. Let me go to the next one. This is, let's see. Okay. Oh, Psalms 128 and 3. All right. And it says, let me see. Yep, thy wife, verse 3, thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house, thy children like olive plants round about thy table. Okay, so there it is, talking about the seed of Israelites being referred to as olive trees, man, or olive plants. All right, it says, behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that feareth the Lord Yahweh. All right, it says, the Lord Yahweh shall bless thee out of Zion. Okay, so this is the context. Olive trees equal Israelites in the Bible. Okay, that's who it's talking about. It ain't bringing up orange trees and apple trees and other kind of trees, you know. Now they're general metaphors for trees, you know, and things of the Bible, but specifically the olive tree is talking about Israelites. Okay, it says, yeah, thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon Israel. All right, so there it is. That's what the olive tree is talking about. Now let's go further. Okay. To the point. Hosea. Yep, Hosea 14. It says Israel's future blessing. O Israel, return to the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, for thou hast fallen by thine iniquity. Take with you word and turn to the Lord Yahweh. Say unto him, take away all thy iniquity and receive us graciously, so we will render the calves of our lips. Now, why is it saying that? Because the northern kingdom went off, man. All right, we got punished. We got scattered. All right. It says, Asher shall not save us, We will ride not upon horses, neither will we say any more to the work of our hands, ye are our gods, for in thee the fatherless findeth mercy. All right. It says, I will heal their backsliding. I will love them freely, for mine anger is turned away from them. So there it is. This is the Lord showing the remorse. He's turning his anger away from us, and he's going to heal us. Okay. We backslid, man. We went and worshiped other idols. When you go to, like he brought up 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, that's what happened. The northern kingdom got scattered everywhere, man. They were going off. They were putting up idols on top of the hills, making groves. There was a watchtower. They would put an idol up there. They had idols in the temple. I mean, they were wild and out. And eventually the Lord got sick of it, you know? And what happened? The Assyrians came in and deported us, man. Okay? Enslaved us, deported us, some in parts of Syria, but we went all over the earth, especially in the Americas, okay, under the Assyrian Empire, okay? So that's one big group right there that got scattered. Just the Northern Kingdom alone will qualify as wild olive branches, which is the subject here, okay? And then the southern kingdom got scattered because they went off, man. The Babylonians sacked the temple, scattered us. Okay, we came back and rebuilt the temple under the Persian captivity. Okay, then we went off again. Then the Greeks showed up, and we scattered all throughout Europe and Greece. The southern kingdom was, you know, some northern kingdom too, but mainly the southern kingdom. So both were scattered, but there was always a lump of Israelites that stayed in the land itself. Okay, there was always that lump that stayed there. Okay, and from that, the ministry in the New Testament, the Lord came back to that lump, to that group, after all of these captivities, and he stood up the ministries, beginning with Peter, all right, and the rest of the apostles, to go out and do what? Go get the ones that were scattered, not every nation. Okay, and it says, Hosea 14, verse 5, I will be as the dew unto Israel. He shall grow as the lily and cast forth his roots as Lebanon. All right. His branches shall spread, and his beauty shall be as the olive tree, and his smell as Lebanon. So there it is again, when the Lord restores us, using the parable of the olive tree. Okay. What's the context? Where do you hear other heathen at in here, man? All right, so this is why you can't just jump to the New Testament and think you got, oh yeah, no. And at this point, it's willful ignorance, because we know the Christians know this by now, because they've been studying us, they've been bringing out precepts, you know, they've been going into chapter they never went in before, you know. That's why Isaiah 19 been coming up so often over the last couple years, because they got the language in there where it's written kind of sound that they can get us, but they weren't even historically going into Isaiah like that. They were staying from Matthew on forward. They would avoid Revelation, okay, except for chapter 7, okay, and then they would stay from Matthew and the God. That's where Christians, that's where they go, okay. But now, since this word is coming out and they can't control it, they're in damage control, you know. Let me keep going for the sake of time, not to make this too long. All right, let's go to the main point to set up further. All right, the context here. Oh yeah, in Zechariah 4, okay, it speaks to the two witnesses standing next to the Lord as olive trees, man. Okay, they're not Israelites. What do you hear heathen mentioned there? Okay. Anyway. This is Jeremiah. Okay, I believe Cesariak brought this out, Captain Cesariak. Okay. All right, this is Jeremiah 11, verse 14. It says, therefore pray not for this people, neither lift up a cry or prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble. Okay, so this is proof right now that the Lord was going to consider us Gentiles. Okay, because Jeremiah is saying, don't even pray for them. The Lord is not dealing with them at this moment. Okay, So this is why you hear us being referred to as Gentiles. Okay, it's very simple. All right. If your woman gets a divorce, well, what goes with that is her last name. She's not called by your name anymore if you go through a divorce. Now you can be reconciled, in which she'll do what? She'll take on your name again. Okay? But when the Lord put us away, you know, we were not referred to as his people, which is he got cut up on Amos 1, Hosea 1. All right. It says, verse 15, what hath my beloved to do in mine house, seeing she wrought lewdness with many, and the holy flesh is passed from thee. When thou doest evil, then thou rejoicest. So we were rejoicing in our wickedness, man. We weren't just wicked. When you read Ezekiel, the 16th chapter, man, the Lord is cursing us out, man, for the wickedness that we were doing. All right. This is why we got put away. This is why we were scattered. This is why we lost our names, our inheritance, you know, our heritage, I should say. All right. But the Lord did what? He made a promise, and he had a covenant with Abraham and with Isaac and with Jacob. All right. That we were going to be his people forever. And the Lord does not lie. Okay. So although we were separated for a moment, you know, you think some nigga can just slide in there, you know, these dirty macking niggas like, you don't want to deal with them, deal with me. You see? That's what these Christians try to do. They try to replace the Israelites, but that you can't replace the covenant the Most High set up, man. All right? You're going to be the one that get replaced. Verse 16, the Lord Yahweh called thy name. All right? A green olive tree. All right, there it is again. So it's in the context of us going off, us being separated from the Heavenly Father, and then we being referred to as what? A green olive tree, fair and of goodly fruit. With the noise of a great tumult, he hath kindled fire upon it. All right, and the branches of it are broken. So these are the broken branches of the olive tree. The Lord set fire to the whole kingdom. All right, it began with after King Solomon's death with Jeroboam, the kingdom rent, and then the northern kingdom went off. Then several southern kingdom kings went off as well. Northern kingdom got scattered, deported, moved all across the earth, mainly in the Americas. And then you had the southern kingdom stayed in the region, and they continued to go off, and they suffered more and more captivities with the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Persians. All right. And the Lord punished us. Okay? And it says, that's basically it on that. That's basically it on that. Let me go to the hot topic that they were discussing, which is Romans, the 11th chapter. Okay? Get there. Okay. I'll start at verse 11. Romans 11, verse 11. Chapter 11, verse 11. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Power forbid. But rather, through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now, how did the Gentiles fall? Okay, what did they fall from? They weren't given the law. So what did the Gentiles fall from here? If this Gentile is talking about every nation, what did they fall from? The Lord never came to them and gave them law, statutes, and commandments. That's Psalms 147. He showed his statutes and his laws to Israel. He's not dealt so with any other nation. So what did they fall from? How do you fall? Okay. This proves that the law was always in effect to some degree, even from the time of Adam, right? Because we recall what? Napoleon, which means to fall, okay? Now, they use that word for giants, okay? But that's essentially what it means. We were a chosen lineage that fell off, man. All right? What did we fall off from? That's what you can't just read, man, okay? You got to, like, think about these things, think critically, get precepts, ask questions in sincerity. Don't have these preconceived notions in your head. If you go to church, they'll have you thinking, you know, as long as you call on sweet Jesus before you die, you're gonna go up into some pearly gates and be good. No, that ain't how things work, man. All right. It says, verse 12. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? All right, so the Lord is basically speaking to you that they may be in a low, broken, scattered state, but their potential is immeasurable. Okay, our potential, because you are an Israelite, your potential is greater. Your birthright is godhood, man. The Lord promised you would be gods. You'd be kings and gods over the earth. All right. It says, verse 13, for I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. And see, this is why Christians just read that and they just go, oh, Gentiles means all of the nations. That means Paul is talking to heathen and trying to get them to convert to do the law. But at the same time, the law is done away with somehow. So what is he converting them to? You know? So they'll bring up this, use the word Christ, which is not his name. Okay. You could say Hamashiach, which is the Hebrew, which is respectful way to say it. All right. They'll invoke the Lord and say, oh, it's just on the Lord. But the Lord, if you were to talk to the Lord, he's gonna point your ass to the law, man. Okay. He's gonna ask you, who are you? Are you a seed of Jacob? Okay, and he's gonna file you in either one category or the other. Okay? You're either worth everything or you're worth nothing, like we read in Isaiah 40. Okay? All right, then he's gonna ask you, do you believe I'm the king? You become the son of man? Do you believe, do you keep the law? That's what the Lord is gonna ask you, man. You can't just say, oh, I believe that he lived at some point in time. That ain't enough. Okay, if you're not a bloodline Israelite, if you don't believe in the Messiah, and you're not keeping the law to the best of your ability, there's a very, very good chance the Lord is going to leave your ass here, man. Okay? You don't want to be left here. Okay, it says, verse 14, if by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh. Okay? So the Paul is saying that these Gentiles are his flesh. What does that mean? Okay. Now you can read Romans the 9th chapter, and Paul is crystal clear. You cannot twist Romans 9. Okay. You really just have to just take away from the word drastically and deliberately, man. All right. Because so Romans 9, even Tazariak said this, gives you context for what's going on in Romans 11, even though Romans 11 is clear. Okay? It says, and might save some of them. All right? It says, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world. Okay? Now, if I were to look up this word world, it would be cosmos. If I had to guess, let's see here. Yep, the word there is cosmos, which refers to what? There's 3 words for the word world in the Greek. There's oikomene, which means the earth, all of its inhabitants. There's aeon, which refers to an age, the end of a world, so to speak, the end of the world. That would be the word aeon, speaking about time. And then there's cosmos, which is referring to an ordinance, or an organization, a body of something, a world of something, not the literal all world. Oikomene is the word that includes everything. Okay, the word here is cosmos, so it's reconciling the world. How can you be reconciled if the Lord never chose you? That's the context here, man. All right. So don't let Christians sit up there and tell you and twist words and read these weirdo translations. Because a lot of these translations have a bias in them. Okay. You be looking up some of these translations, man. They be saying all of these words, and then you open it up in the blue letter, and the Greek word ain't even there. The Hebrew word ain't even there. You like, what? You know? That's why context is important, okay? And it says, verse 15 again, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be? But life from the dead. So we were considered dead. This is why we carry the name Gentile. Okay? Didn't the Lord tell the man that wanted to go bury his family, let the dead bury the dead? He was talking to an Israelite. But he referred to his family as the dead. Why? Because they were not in the truth. Okay? You can be a bloodline Israelite and be of the world. This is why it says that not all of Israel that are not all of Israel is Israel. I'm butchering it. All right, you can't just go by the flesh. This is more than flesh, man. We are incarnated. We are in spirits incarnated into flesh. We were spirits first. Okay, the Lord put a spirit into flesh, so we are more than the flesh. You can't just go by that. All right. You got to believe in this thing, man. You have to be a part of this thing. All right. There's nothing worse than a family doing well, and you got, a couple sons or cousins just living off the good wealth and hard work of the family, not adding nothing to nothing, not contributing, not doing nothing. Well, guess what? Your ass is gonna get the smallest inheritance. Okay. You can't just do nothing in the family because things are good, And it's the Lord feels the same way, man. You can't just be an Israelite by blood and go be a nigga. There's consequences for that, man. All right? Anyway, verse 16, for if the first fruit be holy, Yahushai, the lump is also holy. Okay? And if the root be holy, so are the branches. So even though they're in a dead state, even though they were burnt and cut off and broken off, they're still of a royal priesthood. Okay? Like Peter was writing about. The Apostle Peter. All right? You cannot, it doesn't matter how much we went off. The Lord forgave us, so what are you going to say about it? The Lord forgave us, man. The Lord promised to redeem us, so that's just what it is. Okay? You can't just try to slide in there and insert your name and twist things. No. It says, verse 17, and if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree were grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree. All right? So there it is, man. It didn't say he's going to get apple tree branches and graft them onto the olive tree, all right, or lemon trees, or pecan, and all of these various trees. No, it's olive tree, man. You cannot put a different species of tree and graft it onto the root of the tree. Okay? And we've already established that Israel is referred to quite often as the olive tree. Okay? Verse 18, boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but thou bearest not the root, okay, but the root of the tree. All right? So this is basically going into us treating the Israelite foreigners, which is what they are, as like they never left. And that's what the Lord requires of us, man. We're gathering together. We have to look out for each other. Okay? This is why the Lord preached love. All right? Loving your brother, loving your neighbor. Okay? Who is your neighbor? It's not the person that lives next to you. If he's a heathen, then that ain't your neighbor, man. Your neighbor is your fellow Israelite. Okay? The Lord didn't go through the trouble of choosing a bloodline lineage just to say, oh, to hell with it. It don't matter. As long as they believe that and believe that. No, that absolutely not, man. Okay? Let me see if I had anything else. I believe that's it. I could go to Hosea 1. Yeah, you can go to Hosea 1, read verse 9 through 11 to get more context on what happened to us. Okay, that's what this is. This is a history lesson and an understanding of what's going on in the reconciliation. Okay, there's a subject matter and an audience of the scriptures, and that is the Israelites, for Israelites, by Israelites. That's what it is. Okay. Anyway, I'll end it there. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call hello Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rachak Wadah Shalom. Kwam Yasharallah. On to the next.